Alright, so I want to say that I felt like wanting to do a video, but I wasn't really sure what kind of video I wanted to do, so I want to say today's video is going to be talking about the 2018 PlayStation Classic. Alright, so I want to quickly say before we can get to the main review is that I've had this in my possession since 2018. I got it as a Christmas gift and I haven't really played it much. I've only played a few games on this, but let's get into it. So the PlayStation Classic was originally released back in the year 2018, and I have to say that I've got the box right here, and the first thing I'm going to talk about is the box. Now, obviously the box is very, very nice. I just ruined the box a little bit ago from taking off this tape. That's going to definitely devalue the box for sure, but I have to say that this has 20 games preloaded on it, but I have to say that some of these games are not great games at all, or at least they're not great games in the selection anyway, because there's a few classics which are missing, including Gran Turismo 2, which is one of those games which I really wanted to try. But now I'm gonna quickly unbox this. Alright, so time to unbox this. Now obviously this isn't brand new. I'm gonna quickly show the box in better detail. Here's the back side of the box. As you can see, it says 20 classic games preloaded, and here's all the list of the games. Personally, I enjoyed this game the most, but also this one. Here's the PlayStation Classic itself, which I'm gonna set that over here. Now we don't have much in the box, mainly because this was used. Obviously I used it. I've got one PlayStation Classic controller, although there were two of them. I don't have the other one still. Micro USB cable, because this takes micro USB, and it comes with a manual and stuff like that, which I'm not gonna read. Now, first impressions I want to talk about with the PlayStation Classic is how small it is. This is my iPhone. As you can see, it's basically the same height as an iPhone. This is an iPhone SE, by the way. So this is like a lower end iPhone as well. But to give another size comparison, here's an iPhone 5S from 2013. And as you can see, the size is fairly different. But the real size comparison doesn't come in until I bring in the original PlayStation. I bought this a couple of years ago and I haven't been able to actually use it because I don't have a cable to be able to see on a TV, otherwise known as an AV cable. Here's the size of the PlayStation Classic, and just to prove that both of them are. Now the changes aren't only in the size, but also the ports it takes, along with basically everything else in the console as well. This takes USB ports as well, which means that the controllers are obviously USB. The back includes HDMI and micro USB on it, but it also includes this one door which pretty much does nothing. On the original PlayStation, the ports are quite different, and as you can see, there are two ports on it. In fact, there's one port for the controller and one for the memory card, but also the back includes a power port along with the AV cable and the serial port. I'm going to quickly show the OS that the PlayStation Classic is running along with some gameplay, but to quickly talk about the controller, it is a normal PlayStation controller, but besides that, it's got a USB port on it. Funny enough, is actually just a micro USB cable in there, so if you broke this controller, you can get a free micro USB cable with it. So yeah, I want to say that this controller is basically mimicking the same controller on the original PlayStation. As it doesn't have any analog sticks at all, this is where the analog sticks would usually go. The controller definitely doesn't feel cheap. It just it doesn't feel like it's gonna fall apart unless you destroyed it like Plain Rock 124 did. But besides that, I think the controller is alright. It's not great, but besides that, I think if anything, I could play a game with this controller. Okay, so I'm gonna power on the PlayStation Classic now. It'll have a little bit of a delay, but Alright, so I want to say that this is the OS of the PlayStation Classic. It's got this carousel of games that you can go through. Now, it is including quite a few classic games like Resident Evil and even something as Metal Gear Solid and even Grand Theft Auto and Final Fantasy. But that's really all. I don't really find any of these games really interesting. I don't really find many of these games interesting besides Mr. Driller and even something as Destruction Derby. But I'm gonna try one of these games to show you what the quality is. Alright, so I decided to turn on the volume mainly just to show like the game quality and stuff like that. Now, in my personal opinion, I think the game controls fine and stuff like that. I know there's a lot more games to go into and stuff like that, but besides that, I'm not really too interested in the PlayStation Classic for the library and stuff like that. The PlayStation Classic's library is pretty weak, if I'm being honest. Like, there's a lot of games that were very popular on the original PlayStation, which I thought would have probably been on this game console. Some of the games include Gran Turismo 2 and the original Driver game. There's some games which I think, if anything, could have been on this PlayStation, and unfortunately one of the downsides with this console is that there is no accessibility with like USB output, so if you want to play games on this console, you have to play the library that is included on this console, so you can't really play any games outside of this. I would just say buy an original PlayStation, like just buy an original PlayStation. Now, to quickly talk about the price of the original PlayStation Classic, I want to say that this console costed $100 brand new at the time, and against what the NES and SNES Classic editions were costing, that is really underwhelming with this console especially. So now on to the conclusion of this video. So what do I think of the PlayStation Classic? Well, if I had to leave the game library out for a second, I think that this game console, if had been cheaper and stuff like that, this console probably would have been like fairly more successful. And the thing is that the game library is probably good for some people and probably bad for others. Honestly, this console made me bored after a while. I didn't really enjoy this console as much as I was wanting to like enjoy it. Like, the game library really disappointed me. I'm not really too interested in games and stuff like that, like which are like not in the realm of what I enjoy as much. So I want to say thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment, like, and subscribe. This was just a short video for me to make since I wanted to talk about this console. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.